Alrighty, I'm back on day 2. I know, it's school, so I don't really have a choice. It's going to be bad lighting. So I've taken off the leather from the thing last night, and I finished letting it dry out. It's given the leather a pretty good texture. I know the lighting isn't great once again, but the point is that this slides on pretty nicely, and that gives you a rough idea of what the final case is going to look like. So what we have to do today is trim here so that these line up under the viewfinder. I have to also figure out how I'm going to do the bottom cap. Now, what my current plan is to take a piece here and take the rest of the leather I have and just cut an insert out, tracing the bottom of the camera. I'm going to make 2 of them. So then I'll stitch the 2 of them together, and then somehow I'll have to attach it. But I know as a fact that I want to have a straight stitch line here, so I think I'm going to just do like a stitch through here, and then bind down through the piece, back up, and then through the wall, which is going to be a pretty complex stitching pattern, but it's kind of what I want to try. So yeah, let's get started. That's pretty good, and I give myself a little bit of playroom so I can actually make these overlap a little bit, and that's just so I can get some final trimming down to make sure that they're really parallel. Alright, welcome back. I got annoyed at the lighting because I tried to show what I was doing, so I've cooked up 2 little light diffusers with the little lamps in my room, so hopefully the shadow should be a bit better. It still won't be great, but at least I have a little bit softer light. The back panel here, I think it's fairly evident, is not actually perfectly straight. There's a little bit of warping on it, but in the center bit here at least it's flat. So I'm just going to do a fairly rough outline, alright, which I can see, but I'm fairly confident the camera cannot. Alright, so these are the 2 pieces I have. They're just going to mount like that. Both of them are roughly equal to the camera bottom. One's a bit bigger, obviously, just so I have some wiggle room. So I'm going to glue these pieces together as lined as I can. Thankfully I have some new respirator cartridges, so I'm not going to just gas myself out. Yeah, so let's glue these, and then we'll try to set it to the bottom of this. Or I'll probably actually trim this and punch the holes in it first, but we'll see when that comes. As a quick proof of concept, I just stitched these two pieces of leather perpendicular to one another. You know, I only have 3 stitches because that's just how much I did. But I think it makes sense just to go one across, through the loop, back through, because if I tighten this like pretty well, it actually is like pretty stable. And given that it's going to go in a whole, you know, ellipsoidal shape, it should have plenty of support. I've measured this gap between this and the camera when the camera's in here, and with this, so I'll do that. That'll still leave me a little bit of a lip here, which I'll trim down at my own discretion at the end, probably the same way you saw me fixing up this block with just the block sander. Alright, so I'm gonna mark this, punch out these holes, and then I'll probably just stitch off camera and come back then. Alright, welcome back. I have the main outline of the case. You can see I've got this really nice stitch line. Let me take an example camera, which this should just drop in, and the stitch is right along the center of the viewfinder, slightly offset. Now the front is not perfect. These inserts are still not deep enough, so it's causing the bottom of this to warp and bend a little bit inward like that. So what I'm going to do is just really make sure that when I glue this piece in and go to stitch it, that it mounts level in there. I'm going to stop filming for tonight, just talk with some friends while right after I glue this in and stitch this all up. So that's all it for today, and that wraps up day 2 of this build.